Yo, what up? It's Code Bro, and today we're going to look at transitions again. And this one is for all of you React people out there. This isn't going to be a beginner video, so it's a little tricky. And if you love React, then it's for you. So let's get into it. Now, I've changed this a little bit. So now, instead of transitioning the image in with our CSS, instead we're going to switch when it's active. We will render a component that holds the image here. And if it's inactive or false, then we render null. So we render nothing. Now, the challenge here is to try and create a transition when the image is active or when the component is mounted. Now this seems easy because you'd think, oh, just use React lifecycles. You know, just use componented mount once the image is mounted, or once the component is mounted. Just use componented mount and change a state setting and then change opacity. Because for all those that don't know this, basically once this goes as active, this renders transition image, which triggers the rendering of this whole component here. And the first thing here to render would be the constructor. So that holds this state is mounted false. And the next thing to render is the render function, which will therefore have opacity as 0 because is mounted as false. And therefore the style of this img tag will therefore be invisible because the opacity is false. But then we use a transition once we hit componented mount to change it back to true, and the transition, which triggers a re-render, so this renders again, and the transition changes from 0 because that was false to 1 because now it's true, which triggers a transition. But it doesn't, because, and this is theoretical, I honestly don't know the real reason for this, but I think it's because there is not really a gap between render and componented mount to allow the transition to happen. Again, purely theoretical, but there is a way around this. So originally I put a set timeout for this set state. I put it for like 100 or something like that, just because I thought, oh, that makes sense, that will delay, allowing some gap between render and componented mount, therefore allowing the transition. But actually I looked at some of React's docs. If anyone's had experience with React Motion, inside their docs I noticed the strange set timeout with a 0 on it, which I imagine simply like sort of implies a gap. I mean, theoretically that shouldn't have a gap, but I think because it's, I don't know, it's a little bit hacky. But anyway, React Motion is a fantastic library made by Louis Cheng, one of the React developers, and yeah, he's a fantastic developer, very good library. So I figured I'd go ahead and use his method here. So let's have a look and see if it works. So we just have the transition button in the middle, again no image, and we click on it. Okay, nothing is happening. This was working a second ago. Hang on, let me just check I've got everything right here. Okay, so is mounted true, false there, yes, and is active. This handles a click and it makes that the opposite of what it was. It starts off as false. So that makes sense. Yeah, it should be working actually. And our console log, okay, let's try again. Yay! I don't know what happened before. Anyway, so you can see that it fades in. Now, this is really useful if, for example, you have a library, you have a website, and you want it to fade in when the website loads. So like you can choose any component, even like the home component or whatever, and fade that in simply by adding a isMounted state to the component, and then adding the set timeout inside it. Now, look, if anyone out there has a better solution than this is the best one I could come up with, then please let me know. But this is, so far I've used this on a number of websites and it's worked very nicely. So yeah, please, I really would love more information about this, even if someone knows exactly why this works, whether my theory is correct or not. So anyway, this is really good because, you know, you could use this to remove this flash of unstyled content, which you sometimes see on a website if, for example, you know, there's no CSS for some reason, it's being rendered too late or is being included too late. You can get around that by simply just fading everything in. And it looks quite stylish. I think Airbnb's website has some kind of fade in effect like this. Okay, now, you might notice that it does not fade out. Now this is a huge challenge, and I've gotten around it with certain things, but I'll do another video to demonstrate how we can fix this. And basically we use a little known handler called onTransitionEnd. Or sorry, a synthetic event. It's not a handler. Synthetic event onTransitionEnd. And that can help us get around this situation. But I'll introduce you to that next time. So thanks for watching and see you next time.